I forgot
Okay,
you could give props. I'm like, wait, you can give props.
So thank you for joining us. This is another episode of Your Healthy, Blissful Life. I'm excited about our episode this evening. We are talking about ABC's new TV reality show. It's a weight loss show called My Diet is Better Than Yours. We'll be discussing whether or not TV weight loss shows are helpful or harmful. Joining us tonight, we have Violet White and Lauren Lola. They are lifestyle and body looks coaches. They have founded White Iris Transformational Coaching and Wellness. They are certified nutritional therapists, certified transformational coaches with over 10,000 hours of experience. And I'm excited that they're joining us tonight because Violet suffered from migraines, rashes, mood swings, and lost over 30 pounds when she began her journey to better health. And Lola had a negative relationship with food early on, which caused her to be 40 pounds overweight and on blood pressure medications in her 20s. So ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I'm just so excited to have you here. Both of you expressed that you really went through it and went through a phase where you were going through the latest and the fad diets. And so I think that you'll be able to lend a very good voice to tonight's discussion. Also joining us, you're welcome. Also joining us is Angela Kay. I'm not going to destroy your last name. She has founded Live and Thrive Health and Wellness Coaching. She's a devout vegan wife, mom, and entrepreneur. She has had a 15-year medical career. She is a bodybuilding figure competitor, which I read that and I was like, whoa. She uses her education and experience to help women heal their relationship with food using a holistic approach. And Angela, much like myself, struggled with weight loss weight gain after childbirth. So I love having you here to give us that perspective this evening. Thank you so much for joining. And Angela, and I don't want to destroy your last name either. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's Montanez.
Say that one more time.
Montanez or Montanez.
Montanez. Okay. Thank you for joining us. You're a little bit low, so if you speak up just a little bit.
I'm low.
Yeah, you were low to me for just a second, and I don't know if everybody else can hear you. Angela founded Dora 24 Agency. She is a spiritual and health advisor, coach, healer, and awakener. She managed a chronic autoimmune disorder for more than 2 decades. She was a former Make-A-Wish recipient, and now she is doing better than ever. She was recently featured in People Magazine's 2016 annual Half Their Size issue, which kudos for that. And it sounds like it kind of took you on a media blitz because you were on Good Morning America, E! News, Inside Edition. So that's exciting. And we'll talk more about your health journey as well. So ladies, again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And so real talk. What are your impressions of the show? We'll start with you, Lola and Violet.
That's like having 3 speakers the mic at the same time.
Firstly, can you hear me with the headphones? Can you hear me better?
Yes, that's great. That's great. Okay, so Lola and Violet, we'll start with you. What were your first impressions of the show?
What was your impression of the show? No,
okay, let me back up a little bit and just introduce myself because actually, my name is Shannon Lee. I'm a green smoothie cleanse coach. I'm also a writer and a speaker. And I really got serious about health and wellness really at the end of 2014, much like Angela Kay. I gained a bunch of weight. I mean, I'm typically about 120. I was up to 187 with the birth of my last child. So I gained a lot of weight, didn't even worry about it because it was my 3rd child. And I've never had a problem losing weight. So I kind of went through this phase where I'm doing, my usual, I'll take a little slim fast here. Nothing was coming off. So I think I had a 5-pound baby. I might have lost 10 to 15 pounds after birth. So it wasn't amazing. I did have to do the work, and got really serious about health and wellness and fitness towards the end of 2014. I've lost 40 pounds doing the green smoothie cleanse, and thank you. And that's something that that I, coach clients on. So, I saw the show. I identified definitely with some of the contestants, and I love the energy of the show. First of all, it's hosted by Sean T. Or actually, he was hosting solo the first couple of episodes, so everybody knows him from Hip Hop Abs, and I kind of just figured that out late, but I knew him from Insanity, so now he's got a co-host, Anna Kaiser, joining him. But the exciting thing about the program or the show was that these are real life people. They got to choose, which program that they thought would work for them and their lifestyle. They got to stay in their own environment and try and choose something that, would lead to sustainable weight loss for them. And if it didn't work for them, they got to a chance to change coaches and see how that would work. So I'm loving the show. I want to hear your impressions. So we'll start with Lola and Violet.
Go ahead. I love the clips that I watched also. I think Sean T is just from what I see, very authentic. And the part where he welled up with tears and all that, and he commented about that, it showed that it moved him and what it meant to him. So having that type of energy and passion go into the show, you can only have great things. I liked some things and some things I didn't. Some of the ideas I could understand, but it just didn't seem like it worked for some of the contestants. Mm-hmm. So it just goes to show you where bioindividuality comes into play, where one plan is not going to be across the board for everybody.
Right.
And so this level of adaptation needs to be there as well with these coaches. And some of the coaches that I noticed, I think was it the Wellness Mama? I forget which one it was, but she doesn't seem that adaptable to her.
You're talking about the Clean Mama?
Yes.
Clean Mama plan.
Yeah. I was like, oh no. But for Latasha, it just didn't seem that able to adapt to her and really help her, and the support to me was kind of lacking there. But I love the idea that they can fire their coach basically and say, okay, I need something better, I need something different, because you can tell then it's not dictated the show in that way. As far as what we see, do we really know though? Do we really know?
It's reality TV. So yeah. Violet, before I even have you answer, let me back up just a little bit and kind of explain. They have these contestants paired up with these coaches. They have Carolyn and Latasha. Carolyn, who Lola just mentioned, has the Clean Mama plan, where she takes you through your regular task during your day, and she calls it taskercise. So you're cooking and squatting or whatever, and that is supposed to lead to some form of weight loss. And Jay and Jeff are they have the no diet plan, so they're paired up, and that's Jay basically coaches that it's not about food, it's about you. And so you're really not focused on diet per se, you're focused on making changes within yourself, and then you'll see the results. Dawn is paired up with Jasmine. Dawn, her program is a superfood swap diet, so it sounds to me, and from what I got from the show, is that she's just trying to infuse more healthy foods in. And so it's not supposed to be like a deprivation thing where you're just losing everything at once, but you're just kind of adding more until your diet is a whole lot better. And then you have Abel and Kurt, who have the wild diet. That's still something I'm kind of trying to wrap my mind around.
I love it.
That's, he believes that, Abel believes that you need to infuse fat into your diet to lose fat. And then you had Chaj and Javanka. Now, Javanka is no longer with us, but Javanka started off with the Wellness Smackdown. That's the name of her program. Now, we'll get into this, and I want everybody to discuss which program they identified, with the most. This is something that she used. Started off with juicing and starting off with green smoothie cleanses, and then straight into a vegan diet. And so she had some interesting tactics as well. And then we'll talk about what kind of transpired later on in the season. So that is kind of like an introduction of where we started with the coaches and the pairing off of the contestants. So Violet, what was your impressions when you watched the show?
Well, just for an overall, well, I guess we'll go into more details. I liked it. I never liked The Biggest Loser. I never would give it my attention because there's a lot of aspects about it I didn't like. So this is different. Again, it is for entertainment purposes, so we don't really know how much of it is scripted or how much of it will really not be. But overall, I like the premise better. It's more about the coach and the program than about, belittling and beating up someone overweight till they lose, to shame them into losing weight is what I saw the other show. So I like this. It's more about the programs and the coach. I think the attention is more on them, and I like that.
Very good. Angela,
what are they bringing to the table? I agree.
Yeah. Angela Kay, what was your first impressions?
Okay, I have to be honest. I didn't watch the show. I'm sorry.
Okay, excuse me. Did you read up on some of the
television? No, but anyway, this is what I do want to say about something like that, though, because I can identify with the different ways that you get results. When I was bodybuilding, when I was training to, as a competitor, I was able to see the way different people arrived at different results. And not all of our diets were the same. Not all the regimens were the same. But each of us were when it was time to compete, each of us were ready to do so. Now, unlike The Biggest Loser, if I were to see the show, I would think that having that diverse dynamic available for you to choose what feels good to you, I think that in and of itself will allow you to get so many more results as opposed to you being forced. Because I think that long term, feeling like you're forced to, like The Biggest Loser, I felt like that I did tune into The Biggest Loser. I actually did give it some more attention in my time. And I felt like, it was artificially sweet, meaning that on the screen they did one thing, and then behind the scenes they treated them a different way. And I didn't know whether that was the worst you saw on television or the worst behind the scenes. But now the truth is out. Behind the scenes, it was much worse than what you actually saw televised. And I think that puts people in the mind frame of, I hate exercise. I hate doing this. I actually have clients that struggle with that now because, they've been conditioned to think that this is going to hurt. Like there's no love behind what's going on. I'm being forced, and it simply doesn't feel good to me. So I think that this dynamic that Shaun T has created, because every single thing else he's created has just been blockbuster. So why would we expect anything different from him now? This dynamic that he's brought to this niche, I think is amazing. And I'm gonna go tune in at some point when I get to the outside.
And we'll get into it because there's a plan that I'm going to actually bring up that I want to see if you think it aligns to one of your programs. So
excellent.
We're going to let that slide for now. We're going to go to the Angela that has been watching and live tweeting about the show. Angela,
I've been live tweeting like a crazy person, huh?
What was your impression?
Live tweeting like a crazy person. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh boy. I have a lot of opinions about the show. I love the fact that you can get the variety of diets. One thing that was a little frustrating was, and I think it's because they were trying to fit plans in a box. So for instance, with what was her name? Carolyn with the Clean Mama plan.
Right.
I'm guessing, and this is just me assuming, that she probably went to the gym, she probably did yoga, and then one of the things that she kept saying was you have to tasker-size. So probably behind the scenes, they were saying, okay, well, that's going to be your thing. That's going to be the tasker-size clean mama plan. And she's like, all right, let's go with it. I can do this. Meanwhile, there was still more of a well-roundedness that she had with her program, but they're trying to fit everything into a box so that it can be very streamlined for TV. Because one of the things that I did notice about all the plans was that I never did one plan. You know, otherwise you'll get bored. I did a well-rounded mix of all the plans. You know, like I started out with a primarily plant-based diet. You know, I cut out meat, I cut out dairy, I cut out those really harsh carbs. I did the superfood swap, so I was swapping out bad things for good things, things that were causing me inflammation. What else? I've done supplements, and I still do supplements. I was kind of in that no diet plan after a while. Even now, I'm kind of in that middle ground, but I'm still doing the superfood swap, and I do the tasker sizing. You know, so I do that as well while I'm working around the house. So I try to
you identified some of the
it's very it's very all-encompassing. Otherwise, you'll get bored very quickly and your mind will fall into this structure and then you'll get frustrated, you know. I was frustrated with the Clean Mama plan because I was like, come on, Carolyn, I'm with you, girl. Like, what are you doing? You know, it was driving me crazy. Then Javanka, I was so pissed that she was gone after the first two episodes. Was it first episode or second episode?
The second episode, she got booted, yes.
I was mad. I was like, come on, girl. Like, I've been following you since before the show. You got
Were you? Okay.
She talks, she has great recipes. She talks about great stuff. Follow her on Periscope. And I was like, this is going to be good. And then it was like, hold up. I know they edited a lot, but come on. You smeared oil all over her and had her jumping up and down, you know? And then Taj freaked out about the cookie. What was it, after like a week or two or something like that? I was like, shove that cookie in your mouth and do some planks, girl.
Well, that was the strange part for me because I do, when you're saying that, because, and I'm glad you're here to give that perspective because you're more familiar with Javanka's actual overall plan. But I do happen to think that Carolyn and Javanka were the least TV friendly on the show, and they really didn't get to, you know, the point of their program, and even their clients, you know, on the show. The competitors seem to be really confused about the purpose, what the direction, what they're supposed to be doing. And like you said, you know, when they really, and the thing about Javanka is Javanka had the wellness smackdown. So I'm a smoothie girl getting into juicing. So I understood that, but the way that they portrayed it on TV, you know, when you're doing a detox and you're doing smoothie cleanse, you're not going to go and then have a bowl of fettuccine, you know, coming off of a cleanse, you know, so, you know what I mean? So I'm like, wait a minute, you know, so they kind of lost me, you know, on that with Javanka. So yeah, she wasn't on there long enough, unfortunately, to, you know, to show more about what her program was about. But also, you know, you kind of wonder how the contestants chose those programs because for this particular show, and for those that are watching that don't know, they actually have to complete a half marathon to win. So in my opinion, if you're doing any type of program that is a low activity, you are not going to be, you know, a contender. So, and so that...
1,000 and it's the feature in People magazine, you know. And
well, you know, I was thinking too is that she was the vegan and she started off with her smoothies, and for you, I'm sure it was a little frustrating because she didn't execute the plan the right way. And you know, you having followed her, I can see where, you know, she had some good stuff, but she didn't bring it. She didn't bring it.
But she didn't bring it fast enough for TV.
And one of the things that frustrated me with her and some of the other coaching was the actual coaching, because this is partly about the food and the programs, and it's a large part about how you coach. And
you have to meet the clients where they are. And if that cookie was putting her into tears almost, you got to take that away. To try to force her into that when it was obviously taking her back 10 steps.
That's what I thought.
That wasn't the right approach. And I was very surprised because they did just talk about the sugar and the implications of sugar. So it being vegan didn't make it healthy. She's telling her, does it have sugar? Well, oh yeah, it has sugar, but we just learned all about how. So all of that, got her like all confused and flustered, and that rapport, coach-client rapport, was totally jeopardized.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's a great word, because she, immediately said, and this is Taj, she immediately said, the trust was gone after that. She thought she was trying to sabotage her. So it's interesting for us, that coach and work with clients to kind of see those relationships play out and see who's building trust, who's destroying trust, who is clearly not making a connection with their clients.
Right.
That sugar challenge, I was done. I said, I don't want to see sugar. I don't want to see anything that has sugar. Just that challenge was just enormous, and just to watch it was overwhelming.
Right. And then to bring out a cookie.
Yeah.
I would have ate it in plates. I would have ate the cookie in plates. I would have did it.
We talked about, and I kind of mentioned that, before the whole fettuccine incident with the cookie, I was really kind of identifying with where Javanka was going. I was able to lose the bulk of my weight on a green smoothie cleanse. And I just felt like, okay, this is made for TV. This is something that's going to give her fast results. Right. So, so that was one of the programs that I immediately identified with. So Lola, what was a plan on the show? Is there one plan on the show that you kind of identify with and say, okay, yeah, I recommend this to clients, something similar?
There's actually there's two of the plans that I really like. The approach of Dawn and how she looked at helping her and looking at more of the inner person and digging deeper and the emotional aspect. That was one part. But also the more of a paleo kind of approach with the fats that you were talking about, and fats to burn fat from my background, understanding the wild diet. Abel James, I think his name is, or Abel.
Abel.
That was the one. But that's not going to work for everybody, right? Because not everybody can also digest fat. So if you don't have a gallbladder, then that's going to be an issue. Right? So recognizing where the person is or where the client is important as well, and meeting them. But the guy lost 16 pounds the first week. I mean, that was
and his blood pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, right? But it's true to me, and what I understand, every cell in the body it's made up of fats. There's a 3-layer, and that's important to get toxins out of the system, weight, and also get the nutrients in that we need to have a proper balance of the fats. Now, I'm not talking processed fat, but good, healthy fats is going to drive the metabolism. It really is. So I really resonated with the wild plan. I did.
Could I say something on that note? Although it is, I knew his plan from the beginning was going to be successful, especially with a man. But again, the way it executed, and just like you have your frustrations, the way he executed the smoothies and everything, I felt the frustration there, like a burger with bacon. We can overkill the plan. We can. Yeah, that's too much. It's too much. Pick a protein. Pick a protein, because I think simplifying is very important too for a healthy diet and digestion. And we complicate our food too much. So that was one of the, although I appreciated where he was going with the bone broth.
Oh, I love the bone broth.
But I think it was overdone, with, why do we have to have like 3 different types of meat in one meal, stuff like that. And then people think, my God, what is he doing? So the way that it was executed again was a little much.
The philosophy of it and the creativity that he did with the bacon and getting him out and running. I mean, he really was creative.
Chasing the bacon.
He really was creative. He dressed up in the suit of bacon, right? And said, come on, come chase me. But it's true, because when we're at that weight, we don't want to exercise, right? If I'm Latasha and I have significant amount of weight, I don't want to be lunging while I'm pushing a shopping cart in the grocery store, right? I don't want to be thinking of exercise every single second of the day. I exercise for fun. I train for fun. I enjoy it. After doing that program, like, forget it. Don't get me off my soapbox there. But exercise is something as a movement. It's enjoyment. And I didn't feel it was enjoyment with
She wasn't getting any joy.
Yeah. Like squat while we're microwaving something.
Really hard to portray on TV. Angela Kay, I'm going to get back to you because I'm going to ask you about one of your programs that might be similar to something that's on the show. But Angela Montanez, what plan? And I know that you said that you did a variety of things. And I think that as you move through your health journey, there are going to be different things that work for you at different stages. So that makes a whole lot of sense. Was there one or two plans that you thought, okay, you knew about Javanka? What else was something on the show that you were like, okay, that makes sense. That's something I do with my clients, or it worked for me?
Dawn's Superfood Swap was definitely one of the big ones. Because, and then paired that with Jay's no diet plan, but the mindset aspect of it was really huge for me, because when you're going through this journey, sometimes when you are at a good space in the journey, you forget how it used to be, really just enduring and struggling through the journey, and you forget what the mindset was, because you've already come to this space where it's just a little bit easier for you, So the Superfood Swap and the no diet plan, because of the mindset, is definitely something that resonates with me, because when I help other people, I remember the mindset that I was in. I remember the struggle, the frustrations, and then the pushing through it. I remember the things that I love to do. And I remember the easiest thing was doing the food swap, because for people, the biggest aspect is always going to be the food. They're going to say, am I going to like what I eat? Do you have recipes? What can I eat? I'm only going to be able to eat grass. Like, people get so anxiety filled about it, So the big thing for me was the food swap, and especially the mindset.
Now, you brought up a good point, because I think that we all pretty much have a holistic approach. So we're all incorporating, okay, what are the patterns we're created based on our thoughts, and how does this go into how we're treating food and how we're treating our bodies, and how we need to change this in order to really make this weight loss sustainable, get healthy. It's not even just always about the weight. Of course, this is one aspect of the show, but they do talk about, your blood pressure has gone down, these types of things. So these people are also dealing with other, healthcare issues. So I also identified, with the no diet plan, I have a mental health counseling background, completing that program in grad school. So I've done with that. And so I'm always thinking about, oh gosh, what is the actual root of of this? Where did the weight come from? When did it start? What incident prompted this? Or is it more psychological than anything else? So that's important. So Angela Kay, for anybody that's watching, this is going to have some spoilers. That is, anybody that's not caught up on all the episodes. But Javanka left us early. We already mentioned that. So her and her program, the Wellness Smackdown, is no longer on there. Jennifer is in. She was in, oh gosh, maybe the last two episodes, or at least the last episode. But her plan is called the Strong, Safe, and Sexy Plan. And so she incorporates, she's a nutritionist and a physical trainer. She does incorporate some martial arts, but her diet is gluten-free, pescatarian. Angela, I know that you have a program is it Sexy Back? What is your program?
Yes, that 8-week program.
Tell me a little bit about your program and kind of what's involved.
Yeah. That 8-week Sexy Back program has quite a few things involved, but it's surrounded by four pillars, and it's the top 4 pillars that people typically have issues nailing down or creating sustainable habits around those. And so those pillars are meals, movement, motivation, and maintenance. Those are typically the 4 pillars. And believe it or not, the top companies in the world, I did not know this, but until I learned it, the top companies in the world, like Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, they are starting to move towards these same 4 pillars. For years, they've only done the meals part, obviously, but they've also done the maintenance portion, being able to be a part of a community to help you stay on track. But now, like for instance, Weight Watchers is teaming up with Under Armour. So now they're trying to add that other pillar onto that. But our program's always been like that, though. So meals, movement, motivation, and maintenance. And it really was designed for women to get their sexy back, understand what that is if they've never had it, and how they can achieve it and how they can rock it with confidence and not feel like, their sexy equals taking their clothes off, or their sexy equals doing something that they're uncomfortable with, because it really is about what feels good to them, And so that's what that program is about. A large part of that program deals with mindset, because I've learned that is one of the greatest barriers to people coming out of a place of desperation and into a place that allows them to start nailing down healthy habits that they can keep for the rest of their lives. So that's kind of what that program is about. Tell me about the one you feel like it matches closely to, and you'll spoil this for me. It's okay.
No, I'm trying. She's now. Jennifer is new on the show, so I just noticed she, had some of the same kind of like catchphrase and is real into whole, being sexy, and so I'm not sure, 100% what that means yet, but you'll have to tune in.
That's the martial arts one. That's the martial arts one.
Yeah, she also does. Yeah, so she's really just into movement. But I like seeing them have, because it was so, for me, it was so frustrating. You're getting the scope of the show up front, so you're understanding that these people have to run a half marathon. I'm a runner, so I'm always like, okay, what does it take to get to this point, So these people have to run a half marathon, and only some of the programs even incorporated, or at least showed us on television that they incorporated physical activity. I think it was only who was running it? Kurt was running in the beginning. Jeff was running, from the beginning, and Taj, and certainly, or not Taj, Jasmine. So certainly, you would expect, okay, well, they're supposed to be bringing in these numbers. They're under pressure to lose weight. So certainly they're going to have some level, of high intensity workouts from like the beginning, So, what were some of the things that you watched on the show? Was there anything that you thought, okay, well, I don't really agree with that? And we'll start with you, Lola and Violet. Or I would take a different approach.
Oh, well, for me, there is all kinds of ways of eating that are great, depending on who you are and what your needs are. And I appreciate that Angela has tried all these different approaches, and she appreciated different aspects of them. And so what I was seeing with their programs is, yes, we incorporate that and that and that, like different pieces. But for me, what I would do differently, I have to go back again to the coaching itself. For me, that was major. Some of the things I heard them say, it wasn't effective or appropriate. And again,
you're talking about Clean Mama. I know you're talking about Clean Mama again.
That fire under your butt. What she say? We're gonna get that fire under your butt.
What did she say? Oh, I love the latest episode where she said, "How did you even get into that wedding dress?"
Well, to offend your client is not effective, right? Exactly. And to offend her mother is not effective. And there were some of the others that, it just, the coaching is so important. If you want a client, if you want to lead a client, you have to get on the same page as them. You have to get in, the same space as them and know what makes them tick and know what they respond to. And it does go with asking the right questions, not just throwing out statements and demands, but asking the right questions and getting underneath each and every answer. What does that mean, and what does that lead to? And so for me, there were good aspects of every program. They weren't always executed right, but for me, the biggest thing I would do different is the coaching. It's the approach. And making this a really lifestyle change is going to mean you have to be an effective coach.
Angela M., I know you had been tweeting up a storm about Clean Mama. So
because I had her back. I was like, she's going to take this. She's going to do it. She's going to surprise people in the end, because I understood the concept behind tasker sizing, especially for people who do not like to go to the gym. Maybe they do not do yoga. Maybe they have to do work at home and they only have a small amount of time. So I understood it. That's such a big thing on Instagram as well, where you see those little clips of moms with babies and they're pushing them up and down while they exercise. So I was rooting for her. But it was her mouth. It was the coaching, like you said, you calling the mom an enabler, you throwing her under the bus during the weigh-ins. I was like, Carol, girl, I can't stand behind you at this point.
She was definitely like, you know what? My plan works, but her. So,
it's not the coach, it's the client, right? It's not the coach, it's the client.
I was so heartbroken for her, and I understood Carolyn's frustration, because Latasha was very much like, I'm not gonna mess up my hair. I got my pearls. I mean, she can dress her behind off. Yes, she can dress, but I don't think Carolyn really found that connection to motivate her.
Yes, I agree.
Right.
Yep.
So knowing what you know about, the overall program, these types of things where Latasha was saying, am I supposed to be doing this 24 hours a day? Like, I don't think this is working for me. Do you consider it something where, it's supposed to be something that you find time to do, like an hour out of the day over a little period of time? Or, I understand that it might have been a little bit of extreme because of the show, but that's kind of the way it was conveyed. She's like, I can't get a break. I can't walk to the bathroom without doing leg lifts, and this isn't working for me.
Exactly. It was overkill.
Even during
picnic, prayer, and picnic. Yes.
It was crazy. What did she tell her to do during the prayer? Some type of arm. I can't even remember what type.
And then the picnic. It was like, all right, that's a great, let's eat. But you know what? Let's do something. And then it's like, ooh, mentally, she's already in a very fragile place, and her spirit is already breaking. And she's on this show for millions of people to view, and so hitting hard like that, I mean, she had to know. She was literally trying to save herself at every weigh-in until she realized she was going.
Right. Well, I kind of want to talk about this a little bit, because just to get into this, and Angela K., we're talking about a coach that's been on the show now for the past 4 episodes. I mean, we're about to say goodbye to her. She's been let go. But on the show, she has, just not been able to really connect with her client. And almost, and I had thought to myself that she had such a hard time. Latasha had such a hard time letting go. It was almost, I didn't know if she was intimidated, by Carolyn, because she has more of a passive personality. Carolyn has a very aggressive personality. So have you found yourself in a position where you have a client, you're just not able to make that connection? What do you do in those instances where it's just like, it's just not working,
Me? Yes.
Yeah, have you ever had that situation where it's just like you and I, it's just you and I? It's not.
Yeah. And typically, I mean, there should be a screening process to make sure you guys are a good fit to work together because, you know, some people, it just doesn't, your plan just doesn't work for them. And one of the things you can do to try to alleviate some of that is have different types of programs, not just different lengths, but what's involved in each program as well. But for me, when it comes to a client who I feel initially like it's something that doesn't, it's not resonating with them, or we may potentially not be a good fit, I actually will allow them to put their sessions on hold for 30 days, especially if I determine that it is something kind of holding them back, that they're just not ready to jump in and really change something. So I will allow them that 30-day period to put some things on hold, but then after that, they have to make a definitive decision. And usually it's to go forward, but there have been many instances where they choose to say it's just not going to be a good fit. And that's fine because, you know, one of the great things about coaching and coaches is that there's so many of us out there. We have such amazing experiences, and we can bring those awesome things to our clients with such great diversity that, you know, even if something I don't do works for them, I can now say, hey, Lola, do you mind taking this client? I think their story might resonate with you. Can you help them? So, and that's the beauty of connection. That's the beauty of knowing who else is in the industry and knowing that the person did reach out because they did need help. And even if I'm not the one to help them, that there's so many more amazing people out there that can. So, yes.
Thank you. Yeah. So when I find a vegan client, potentially, I'll send them your way. I actually had to do that. Yeah, I had to do that. It was a vegan client, and she turned vegan, and we just weren't the right fit, and I had to refer her out.
And ethically, you should do that. Ethically, you should do that. It's not I was going to be a match for you. I was life coaching back in 2012. And before that, I had a life coach, and she said, you will have to fire some clients, and you might, you know, need to do things like Myers-Briggs test and make sure that you are compatible if you intend to work with them, you know, on a long-term basis, because if it's a bad fit, you know, it can be horrible. And people do, you know, force themselves into situations where they, you know, they don't really understand that you just don't have a connection. That leads to lower morale for them. So it's interesting to see the dynamics play out on the show, because I know that coaches all over, you know, the world are going to watch it and just pick the coaches on their part. But are there any of the contestants that you find yourself just really relating to in their health journey on the show? Lola and Violet.
For me, a little bit of Jasmine. Which one is that? Jasmine.
She's on the superfood swap diet. She won the challenge. What was it? The stair challenge.
She's looking for a lot of balance, but you know, basically having the creativity, right, of the foods and the alternatives and supporting her family and stuff like that. That's really, from what I see, that's really important to her. And the coach recognizes that. And that's what I like about, what's her coach's name? Forget her coach's name.
Dawn. Dawn.
Yeah,
Dawn.
So she recognizes what her objective is. It's not only her health, but it's the health of her family. And coming into my 30s and with my first baby girl, that's my focus as well, is the family. So that's kind of where I resonate with her. And when you get the moms healthy, and you can go on ahead and create really change in the family household, and it does a lot for the future generations to come. So I like that.
Cool. Violet, anybody for you that you just look at and say, okay, well, I identify with them?
You know, it's crazy. Until you said that, I hadn't thought about it at all. And now I'm trying to think, and I don't know if anybody is in the place I was. That's on this show. You know, that is in the place I was at. When I was determined to turn my life around. I was in my 40s, mid 40s, when I said, I'm not going down. I'm not done yet. And that's what was happening. And I had all my girlfriends around me going, oh, we're too old for that. We're too old for that. I'm like, you may be, but I'm not done. And that's when I decided to take my health and my weight and my body image of myself and what I knew was possible to take control of that. And so I can't say that anyone on the show is quite at that place where I was or and am, but a lot of my clients are, and that's so a nice experience, a wonderful, amazing experience for me when I'm talking to my clients that are in my age group or where I was when I started, and I can relate so to how they're feeling in coming into this great phase of life where you think, what now? Well, what now? Yes, it's so much. So I can't say, I'll be honest, I can't say I can relate fully to anyone on the show.
After 30.
So it's important to, we keep saying it that, there's a coach out there for everybody. And if you don't find the right one, find somebody else, keep looking, because there really is, there's certain people that are going to be open to working with a wide variety of clients. I happen to really love working with women. And I have not had, I didn't deal with weight issues growing up. And I really didn't deal with weight issues until, I was in my late 30s. So, and that was, after childbirth. So it is, a particular type of client that I'm like, okay, I'm in your head. I know what it's like to wake up and be like, okay, I can't work out for 10 minutes and get my body back. This is a problem. So, and kind of work through that. So there are clients for me, and you never want to be, pigeonhole yourself, because there are plenty of people that are going to be inspired by your journey. You don't know where your clients are going to come in from, and that's great. But, it's still good to kind of be focused and know who your tribe is. So Angela M., same question for you. Is anybody on the show, the contestant, that you felt like, okay, I really identify with her?
I would say, as usual, it's always a mix. I've always found personalities on the show to be very mixed with me. Like, I love Latasha's grace. She's so graceful. Even in the end with Carolyn, she handled herself in a very dignified manner, and that was so beautiful. So I would say that aspect I definitely identify with. I would say with Taj, when she was holding that medicine ball and she was not about to let it go, I thought that was me when my doctor told me that my liver disease had progressed to cirrhosis after 25 years. And I had read the stats, and I knew, the numbers in regards to people who passed away waiting for a new liver. And I said, that's not going to be my life. I'm not about that life. So when Tom was holding that medicine ball and she was like, I'm doing this, that was me. And then Jasmine, as far as her well-rounded nature and her positive attitude, I mean, I love that so much. It's like even when she was here, she was still like, I'm still not letting it go, until finally, she just couldn't hold it. And so I would say those three definitely mix of their personality.
For me, and I'm kind of the same way. Latasha, she has that quiet grace about her. I would have loved to have seen her matched with somebody that, that was a little bit more on her level. Carolyn, I wouldn't say that she left the show in a dignified manner, but I can also identify with her, kind of like her working mother, struggle. And having the baby and just kind of feeling like, okay, I can't do everything anymore, so it's out of control, and I need that type of help. So I identify with her struggle. And then, Jasmine just has an overall good attitude. She's the only person I can think of. I know that I think Kurt, he's wearing some brace, but Jasmine is the only one that we've seen be injured during a challenge on the show so far. Came back, didn't lose a whole lot of weight the next week, but she seems to have, maintained a really good attitude. And so that's me all day. It's a positive mindset, and that's what's going to take you, the distance. So that being said, what were your impressions of Kurt in this whole the situation that they're in, this pressure environment, this high pressure environment, this TV show. What are your thoughts about kind of like the last 2 episodes and the lashing out and the behavior of Kurt? Is it kind of reminding you of like the Biggest Loser type of response to this type of challenge? Lola and Violet.
I saw only the first 2 episodes, so I didn't realize there were more. So I thought we only had 2. So tell me about it.
No problem. So Angela, are you caught up? Angela M, are you caught up on the last 2? Okay, so what are your thoughts about that? Was that a surprise to you at all?
I don't even when he is frustrated, I don't find him to be like over the top. What was the other guy's name with the yellow shirt? I think it's Jay's the one Jay's training.
Jay is training. Jeff is the one that we're talking about. He's said
Kurt. So I'm
Jay,
like, Kurt.
Okay. No, not Kurt. No, you're right. Jeff. Jeff is the one that's been lashing out the last 2 episodes. So what were your thoughts on that?
I had Jeff's back for the first 2 episodes. I was like, he's gonna take this. Him and Kurt are gonna go neck to neck. And then these past 2 episodes, I could understand his frustration, especially when you have cameras in your face all the time. You're moving nonstop. The competition is heavy, because you want to win the money. You have millions of people watching you. You have people judging you, and you know that they're going to be judging you at that time. Your entire diet is changing. No matter what diet plan you actually go on, your whole way of being is changing. Your lifestyle is changing, and your brain is trying to stabilize to what it's used to. So I could understand him lashing out and just getting very frustrated. I think Jay handled himself very well as a coach to stick with him. But I also think I was a little disappointed when he didn't even go forth with the challenge. He just dropped the ball and said, I'm not doing this. And I felt like that was his breaking point at that moment. Like he just felt like, I need a minute. I need a break from working out, from food, from all of this coming at me, because in the real world, we have our breaks. We're very gentle with ourselves. We're very gentle with our bodies, and we take our time. Even when we're pushing, we listen to ourselves. We do find what feels good, as Yoga by Adrienne says, and I love her so much because she always says, find what feels good. And so we're able to do that. But when you're on TV, there's so much on the line. You've signed a contract, people are judging, and it's round the clock. Yeah, I would have thrown my hands up too at that point. I would have been like, you need to leave me alone for a minute. Yeah,
I want to go into that because I want to tie that into an article that came out by the New York Post. Now, I know, Angela Kay, you have to run, so I just want to give you an opportunity to let everyone know where they can find you online.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, I got to run this. I have a third broadcast to get on tonight. This was my second one. So you can find me online on Facebook at Live and Thrive Health and Wellness Coaching. Or you can find me at the Devo Wellness Network on Facebook. So you can search both of those, and I'll pop them down here in the comments right before I head out. But I got another broadcast to get to. Sorry, you guys.
No
it's been
problem.
fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Again. Good night. Okay, so kind of tying in what we're talking about in Kurt, and just to catch you up, Lola and Violet, Kurt kind of had maybe like a typical reality TV response, maybe he hasn't had a full meltdown yet, but he definitely has gotten to a point where he's stuck, he's frustrated, he's lashing out, he's saying everything's stupid. And and so, that's kind of where we were at in the final.
Is he the one, on the no diet?
Kurt, no, let me see here. Jeff is on the no diet plan. Okay, so, and I think along with Kurt, and of course men, tend to lose weight faster. but they see these big, this big weight loss in the beginning, and then they kind of plateau. It's still, they start losing smaller amounts of weight. It might be consistent, but on a show like this, you're under, pressure. He feels like he's under pressure to lose a whole lot more weight a whole lot faster. So he kind of started lashing out. So that being said, there was an article that came out in the New York Post this month, which basically, was a contestant that came out and stated, some of the practices, talked about some of the practices on The Biggest Loser, talked about some of the things that she had gone through in terms of just being, isolated from family and friends, being, just really verbally abused. And then, also stating that the contestants, even when they were injured and under doctor's orders, were not allowed to follow those orders. They were still pressured to, run, even if they were advised not to run. And that there were a lot of contestants that she knew of, allegedly in this article, that, walked away from that show or came away from that show with, serious injuries. People that have damaged their knees, people have damaged their backs, and really, things that pretty much align with what type of injuries you think would happen when you're working with people that are that obese and they're doing that level of intensity workout. So with that being said, and The Biggest Loser is, the biggest show out there like that, do you think these shows overall are helpful or harmful?
I think
anybody can chime in.
I think it could go both ways. I think it, for the media watching, it gives them some sense of motivation, kind of similar to this other show now. Like they're really getting a sense of awareness of maybe where their body's at, and sometimes they may not realize they need the help, but watching, they're like, wow, maybe I do need to do something, or maybe that's kind of how I'm feeling. But sometimes you don't know it until you know it. So seeing it on TV and experiencing. With that said, I do think that there are some extreme measures that are taken that are not healthy, and it gives the wrong perception to people. So that's why I like this show a little more, because it seems a lot more balanced. But The Biggest Loser, I thought it was too extreme, and it wasn't a show that I could watch. I mean, I couldn't really stomach watching it sometimes, because of how hard they would push them
and shame them.
That's the truth. What was your response to the article, Angela?
Well, I don't think I saw the article. When did it come out?
This came out I want to say it came out just this month. Yeah, January. I'm sorry. This came out last year.
Oh, last year.
And this was one of the contestants, Kai Hibbard, who just talked about, her experience, how, she gained the weight back. She knew a lot of other contestants that gained it right back because the conditions in which they were forced to lose weight weren't primed for any type of sustainable weight loss, and that she has, health problems as a result of participating on the show, as do many other contestants.
I'm not too surprised. There is a young man, I don't remember what season he said he was from, but he does blabs. His name is Brian. He's got red hair and like a red beard. But he does blabs on here, and he was one of the biggest losers, and he gained all his weight back. And so he talks about that here on Blab, and then he talks about the new season of The Biggest Loser. That's definitely a show that has never been my favorite. I think I saw like the first season, and I was like, oh my God, what are we in the army for weight loss? And I was like, this is not, I couldn't relate to it. And of course, when the first season came out, I was going through my weight loss journey. And, I have this thing where I don't like people yelling. As I'm working out, I don't like people yelling in my ear. I don't like my trainers yelling. Like, I snap back and I say, just be quiet, because I got my own self yelling in my head. So to watch it on TV was just a little over the top for me.
And it's interesting because it seems like everyone has mentioned that the stress is almost like palpable. Like it's stressful to watch them go through it as if you were sitting at home, which is kind of crazy because, it's been on this long and it's been this popular. So
I'm surprised they even lost weight. I'm surprised they even lost weight on The Biggest Loser, because if you think about putting your body in that intense stress, I mean, that's chronic inflammation. So, and then the no fat, the food that they were eating was so processed, right? I think that's really what angered me. Everything was fat free, no fat, low calorie, and I mean, what were they doing? Like 700 calories training the way they were training?
Yeah, the way that they were saying was that it was this extreme, calorie deprivation, and that's, obviously the only way that they were able to lose weight. And then, there were allegations that, they were even told to do unhealthy things in order to come back and have that type of weight loss, like smoke and do things that would, obviously suppress their appetite. So,
but you asked I think if we thought they were harmful or helpful, I just think that they're TV. It's TV. The bottom line is money and entertainment value. So you really have to watch it with that view, and a lot of it is unrealistic. So it can be very discouraging also for someone that wants to go down this path. So I just think I think overall they're unrealistic, and you have to watch it that it is for entertainment purposes.
Well, getting into what you just said, what are some of your takeaways and some of the things that you might discuss with a prospective client, that are watching these type of shows and wondering, what is this whole weight loss and maybe I need to do this on my own. What is the benefit of hiring a coach, if I'm going to have to go through this? What would you say?
Well, I don't know if, I don't know if no one has ever asked me that, but if, that conversation has to be about them. Not about anybody else's experience or any show or anything. The conversation between me and a potential client really has to be all focused on them. What they really want, what their goals are, what has been holding them back, what is their life like now, how do they desire it to be. That conversation is all about them. I would ask them probably to just temporarily erase that from their mind so we could focus on them and their journey and their particular goals.
What would you say, Lola?
The presence of the client is very important, and I think me and Violet have the same foundational belief of being present with the client and really getting to what their why is, that why under the why, because sometimes that initial why that they have, why they're doing something, I just want to look good. I had a client who told me that they wanted to lose weight because everybody in their office is skinny. Like, really, right? But obviously there's something more. There's more of a pain point for them, and developing a program, right, that's going to meet them exactly where they are. And everybody has different perceptions of weight loss or exercise or movement. So we really have to be adaptable with these clients and what they want and what their expectations are. Like Latasha in the beginning, she had an expectation of 10 pounds. So when she saw 6 pounds, she was not happy. When she saw 6 pounds, she still was not happy. Right? Yeah. So getting sick also with the client is going to be important. And I think that that's something that me and Violet really do. Can you lose 20, 30 pounds? Yes. But it all depends on what your body, how your body is going to respond. So we don't want to have them over in expectations, and looking to overachieve and then miss the goal, because that can be very harmful as well. So gently guiding them in the process and being present with what their needs really are, but still giving them results, right? Still giving them the results.
Well, I think you're kind of speaking to, what could be a negative for these types of shows is really just having people that are unrealistic about, what it takes to lose that type of weight, and the emphasis on weight loss when, if you're dealing with a chronic illness and things like that, you might not, your first concern might not be, dropping 50 pounds in a week. if that's not going to be something that's healthy or sustainable for you. So what are your takeaways from the show, Angela, and what would you say to clients, prospective clients that are cautious about this whole process of going with the coach because of some of the things they've seen?
Well, I always say that when it comes to your diet, it's a lifestyle change because it's your health. I don't like to deal with anybody that just wants to do this to get a beach body. I am the wrong coach for you if you just want a beach body. And I always say that this is a moment by moment thing. My practice is very spiritual, I would say, because I am highly intuitive. And usually when I usually find that I attract clients that have a lot of anxiety. So they direct that anxiety into food and they direct that into other areas of their life. And so when I sit down with them, the first thing that I'm faced with is all of this anxiety, So I think when it comes to finding a coach, you really have to know that there is a connection, that the coach has your best interests at heart, and that you really feel that interconnection. You can feel that click, you can feel that chemistry, you can feel it. I've come across people where I know straight out the gate, even though I know what their journey is like, and they say, well, I want to lose weight and I need help. My priority is always health. For me, weight loss was the bonus. And so I'm always looking for people that are focused on health because that's sustainable and that will take you through, that promotes longevity. Whereas people that just want to lose weight because the summer is coming or they want to be thinner, and it goes back to the why, like you said, so I would definitely say find someone that you connect with, on this. And it's okay if your coach happens to be yourself. That is okay. If you get to a place where you feel absolutely desperate and maybe you don't have a lot of money and maybe you have to encourage yourself and maybe you have to be the one to read. I mean, I know I had to be that person. I had to open books. I had to watch documentaries. I had to, peruse other wellness experts. I had to get to desperate and I had to be hungry and I had to become my own coach. So it goes back to the why.
Very good. Yeah, I'm similar. Everybody's not self-motivated. And so when we talk about some of the things that are featured on the show and some of the different programs that are on the show, it's like you really see where a personality comes in and where you really have to find the right fit for yourself, even down to just small particulars. Like I'm a mono eater. So I can sit there and if I like a mango this month, I can eat a mango every day for the next, and so I can do a green smoothie every day for 6 months and it's not going to kill me. And some people are like, oh my God, So it really comes down to your personality, your lifestyle, your goals, like you said, your why in terms of finding, what's right for you. So I appreciate that. So Lola and Violet, tell us a little bit more about your practice and what's next for you.
Well, like all the ladies that are present tonight, we focus on a holistic approach. Our main draw has always been weight loss, although I'm from the premise of sell them what they want, but give them what they need. Sometimes when they come to us, it is the weight that is weighing them down, that is keeping them from living, that is, they no longer recognize themselves in the mirror. It is all about that weight.
They want to see the results.
Yeah, it is all about that weight. But what we do is our determination is to help them get beneath that, because being overweight or yo-yoing in your weight is a symptom. So let's get beneath the symptom and find out the root cause, and those root causes are dual, emotional and physical. So we have to figure out what's going on in the body, mind, and emotions to truly help them. And, we have a process for that has worked well for us in our journey and has worked very well for our clients. But I truly believe that we've had great success with helping people with getting results with losing weight. So we get a lot of referral business for that reason. So they're like, help me too. But that may be their initial reason why they come. But we're really about going a lot deeper and broader with their journey.
And we focus on the food, the science, and the support. So it's very much integrated from the beginning and creating that rapport, getting them present. And a major part of this process is just the awareness of where they are and where they want to go. You know, that, and to get specific with the client. And even if they're not looking to hire a coach, you know, all of you out there listening, get specific with what it is that you want, really. And yeah, so we love what we do because their success is really our success. And every client that I work with and deal with, I see a piece of myself as well. And I know Violet feels the same way. So we're so passionate about this, you know, it's not just, and it's not just, you are more than the weight. But if I didn't have my weight loss journey, I don't think I would have saw the opportunity that was waiting for me on the other end. You know, so the weight for me was definitely holding me back. And, you know, long story short, it led me to a man that I love and loves me and loved me for the way I was, but I could see that I can raise the bar, you know, basically, in life and in business and in my family and just be better across the board. Because like Violet said, the weight is a sign. The inability to lose weight is your body telling you something, whether it's the inability to convert nutrients or absorption or emotional, there is a reason that your body is giving those signals.
Right. And you're absolutely right about that, because it might not be something that's as superficial as you think. You know, you could have hormones that are off and, you know, other things that really need to be investigated. So, Angela, you've kind of been on this whirlwind with the whole feature in People magazine. What's next for you? And tell us a little bit more about your practice.
What's next for me? Well, I'm actually, I'm always shifting and shaping my programs. And I love to approach everything that I do from a very spiritual standpoint, because I have always been able to read people, especially from a place of the soul. Like I said, I tend to attract very high anxiety people. I had a client who she was so anxious each time that she would just throw things into the juicer, into the blender, and it would not make any sense. And then she would drink it and vomit. And so I knew like, okay, what we're really dealing with here is just years and years of trauma and some emotional issues and a lot of anxiety. And so beginning there, I had to just take it level by level, you know, because it was so deeply entrenched. I also found that, and I feel like I tend to find people who are like me, but they were where I was. And I'm trying to figure out how to pull this apart, because sometimes when I get into the spiritual aspects, it becomes so deep. So they were where I was, and I'm always trying to put myself back in that position to help move them along, if that makes any sense. But as far, I mean, I don't even know, like People magazine was so random, you know, so I don't even know what's going to come press-wise afterward. I just think I want to continue to share my story. I want to continue to inspire people. I'm such a big advocate on naturopathic medicine. And I have some friends who actually go to school, and I'm a big proponent of my naturopathic doctor. And I also help my clients with resources when it comes to naturopathic doctors within their area. And I know somewhere down the line, I'm definitely going to play a major and a bigger part within advocacy of naturopathic medicine within state boards and with the health insurance companies, because it feels like every day is a battle. It's a battle. And every single day I get more and more frustrated because I say it shouldn't be this way. People have the right to have, access to good health,
Right.
But then there are all these policies in place, and I can only inspire and motivate to a certain degree before people are really going to need the financial help,
Mm-hmm. No, that's true.
So, yeah.
That's true. Coming from a mental health background, I understand. And the struggle is real.
Yeah.
And right, they should be able to, say, hey, this isn't working for me and this is my alternative. And, this person is credentialed and I want to go with them,
Yeah,
So,
I'm also working on an e-course with a friend who's actually in the room right now, and his name is Mr. Jones.
Hi, Mr.
Because
Jones.
I don't train men. I love to work with women. I don't train men, but I do get a lot of men that says, "Hey, I want to be trained." And so Mr. Jones, he is Mr. Jones Wellness, and so him and I are going to be working together on an e-course. That way, we don't have to be as face to face with people. I get drained very easily because I have a weaker immune system, and so I just try to be smarter about this. So.
Now I had a question for you, I know you're a twin, right?
Yes.
So have you kind of gotten her into the same type of lifestyle? Know that you started trying to find solutions to your health problems, and your twin. And so has she kind of followed a similar path?
She is on her own journey. And I think it's very difficult when it comes to twins because you're always going to have, even if one twin is not in competition, you're always going to have that other twin that is like, hold up, we're not going at the same pace here. Either you slow down or you slow down. And so we've been opposite during this whole process, and it's been a little frustrating, but I understand that she's on her own path. She feels like, well, who are you to tell me what to eat? And I'm like, okay, I'm not,
I'm your twin.
Exactly. I'm going to take a step back, and I've gotten her many trainers, outside of myself. I've gotten her many trainers. And I just understand that she's on a path. She's a new mom, so she's going through a lot of emotional things. And it's a process. And so I try to be as supportive as I can on her journey, because mine was not overnight.
Yeah. Wonderful. I'm a twin as well. I have a twin brother though, so.
You're a twin.
I have a twin brother, but we're very opposite. We don't have the same, the same interests. Like I'm into writing. I'm a writer. He's into acting. So we're still highly competitive. We're still highly competitive. We're both. Exactly.
We are literally night and day.
Exactly.
She's the sun and I'm the moon. I will be up all night and she will be up at like 5 a.m, just ready to go. And I'm like,
Yeah, well, I have enjoyed this discussion. Ladies, tell everybody, and I'll tell you, I hope to do more shows like this. This is my second episode of Your Healthy Blissful Life, and as I find shows and books and documentaries and things that interest me, and we're able to have a type of thoughtful discussion, I hope to have you back, and I hope to have more involved. We have a viewer that is trying to call in and might have a question. So if you don't mind, we'll take a moment to see what she has to say. Welcome, Kathy. Did you have a question for the panel?
Well, basically, I noticed from the topic, and one thing, as someone who's tried every diet from Atkins to Zone, I've also tried the lap band, which at first started to work, but I think it does more damage to the health overall. I've lost 100 pounds with it, but I noticed, and I didn't understand people's lingo in the beginning. I would hear talks in lap band chats and other weight loss sites of sweet spot and things like that. I think that some weight loss surgeries kind of teach you to be bulimic, because you seem to notice the biggest weight loss when you've gotten stuck with certain foods, even if it's something smooth like a yogurt, where you notice you're losing weight because you're not eating anything. So it's a weird dynamic that plays into the brain. So I think with most diets, the biggest important thing to do is not just a lifestyle change, but figuring out what caused you, like for me, figuring out, and I did, what caused you to gain the weight, what was the first trigger? Because it's usually some sort of, I wouldn't say necessarily a trauma, but some big event. And then the environment with habits you get used to, the way smokers used to associate smoking a cigarette while having coffee after dinner in a restaurant or going to the movies. You know, we've heard Ellen DeGeneres joke, you know, you feel like you're packing to be in there for days. So it's things like that like I'm 51 that would take longer to change than for younger people wanting to make that change. Because you haven't had them so embedded in you that, you know, it's like it'll take whatever years to kind of undo. So that was just my input with it. So when I see those weight loss, you know, commercials, if I see Marie Osmond one more time, I'm going to Utah. And a person said to her, you have enough money. You know, it's all BS for you. So that's what I hope to see is less of that stuff and more of figuring out with any diet where you maybe help discover what causes you to go back and revert to different ways.
Well, I appreciate your comment, Kathy. You are 100 pounds is, first of all, amazing.
Well, again, I've been there and done that, except for hypnosis, though.
So congratulations to you for that. But, you know, you really, you're kind of in line with, you know, a lot of the things that we talked about tonight. You are so on point with the whole, you need to figure out what's going on with you internally.
Yeah,
you know.
But also there is one more point I want people to understand that maybe is that not everyone that is heavy like myself is not healthy. I'm very proactive with my health. I've never had a problem with diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, right? So that's another thing I would like to see better people realize. Not all of us. I even had a doctor once look at my chart when I switched practices, and she looked up at me, and she was 8 months pregnant, and she looked at me after looking at my chart and said, "You're healthy." And I looked and I said, I'm surprised I'm not dead, but thank you. And pregnant women have an elderly glow. So I want to see that myth debunked. You know, weight doesn't mean health. My own doctor's 120 pounds and has high cholesterol. So.
It happens. You brought up some great points, and that's just some great points we have to do more for advocacy in terms of, you know, weight loss journey, and you're absolutely right.
It's also a sense of shame that can come along if somebody doesn't, like, you know, with Weight Watchers. How many times have you gone in and you're in that group, and what do? They talk recipes. So I used to leave there looking for the nearest grocery store because I'm making a list. You know, you couldn't go into a drug rehab group and have, you know, oh, use Splenda, and if you cut it and snort it, it's just like cocaine.
I think it's important for you, Kathy, to listen to your body, right? I know the blood work and all that, and I've done some integrative blood chemistry. The blood work is not always what meets the eye. Sometimes it takes a long time for certain things to show up in even the blood work that they're discovering anywhere from 10 years or more, right? So you can have something brewing in your system, in your body, and you're not feeling right or you're feeling off, and it's not showing up in the blood work. Right? So they have saliva now, they have, you know, have different testing, but I think the best test is really going to be you or the client or whoever it is, the person, right? If you're feeling off and not feeling well, and that's a pattern, then regardless of what your blood work is showing, you should trust that. You should trust
maybe because I used to be an EMT when I was in my 20s, I'm now in my 50s. I've always learned, when I learned anatomy and physiology, I know that if a cold on me lasts longer than a week, I'll get checked out. I knew I had heartburns before my doctor did in 2000 because I never had heartburn. So when I got it up in Cheerios, I mentioned, well, I can give you Nexium. I said, no, it's gallstones. He goes, are you sure? I went, you want to humor me? I'll pay for the ultrasound. So when it came back that I had minor ones, he told me I had time, and I found that strange. I said, I'm not going to wait for it to grow because they don't disappear and get stuck in the duct, and then I have the infection. So it's people learning their own bodies, even if you're thin and been healthy, like you said. Anything, the body just trying to talk to you. But most people fluff it off because so many symptoms can mask anything. You think you have the flu. and it may not be the flu. Or it should be a sign of something else.
Well, you sound like you're a great advocate for yourself and just kind of highlighting the importance of, figuring out what's going on and not just taking the first, thing that a doctor tells you at face value, So.
Well, again, also because as women, there's also a sense of shaming that we feel about our own bodies, I think. And I figure, again, if I lose the rest of the weight, fine. If not, I'm proactive about my health where I at least keep tabs on it as I see where my body wants to go. Because it may be comfortable at this weight or maybe another 100 down. We also have to consider that our bodies are made a certain way to handle certain things. So you may want to force it to get to a certain weight and it may rebel. I've noticed
like some interesting things to think about, right, Kathy?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks so much for calling in. Those were all great points. Ladies, if you would take a moment just to tell everybody where they can find you online.
WhiteIrisTC.com.
Do you want to write it in the chat box?
The TC stands for transformational coaching. Yep. You wanna?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna type that in, and then on Facebook it's White Irish Transformational Coaching, and Twitter and Periscope is White Iris TC1. So I'll go on ahead and type all of that in. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. So make sure to follow them. And Angela, where can they find you online?
If you go to www.door-24.com, it's Door 24 Agency, you'll find all of my social media there. You'll find my background there. You'll find everything there.
Well said. I can be found at healthyblissfulmom.com. All my social media is Healthy Blissful. So I am periodically on Periscope. I'm trying to get more consistent with that. I'm definitely on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So definitely find me. Let me know what you thought of the show. If you have any questions, let me know. And be sure to connect with all of these ladies. I have enjoyed the discussion. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope that we can do this again about another topic, another evening. But again, thanks for joining me tonight.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank
you. Nice meeting you, Angela.
You too.
Same to you.
I'll
You all
connect.
have a good. Yes, have a great evening, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.